Nights are starting to get cooler, daylight hours are shortening, and what that means is that bass are starting to feed, and it is time to get back out on the water and go try to have a great day of fishing. And today on Bass Fishing Declassified, our anglers from across the country are going to share their baits and areas to help you, no matter where you live, to go out and have a great month of fishing during October.
Hey guys, Kyle Kriana here with Bass Fishing Declassified. Today's video is going to be about top baits in the month of October. So my top bait in the month of October is a Booyah buzzbait. I love throwing a buzzbait in the month of October. There's something about it. They just eat it really, really well. And Booyah offers fantastic colors. I would say out of the ones I'm holding right here, if I had to only go for two, I'm probably gonna go these two. I'm gonna go black with a black blade, or I'm gonna go shiny blade with white and a little bit of chartreuse. These are my two go-to colors. Again, I like throwing them both in any watercolor clarity. To be honest, it doesn't seem to matter to me. I do like to mix in the War Eagle buzzbait with the gold blade, black skirt with the gold blade. Any of these options, if I can get away with it, I'm running a trailer hook on them. Now, a lot of guys like to run trailers on the back of theirs. They like to put swim baits on there. They like to put frogs on there. I'm not that guy. I like to just depend on the skirt to make the profile of the bait. I want them to eat where that skirt is, eat where that hook is, and I like having a skirt on my buzz bait. So when I'm throwing that, I'm going to try to put the trailer hook on there. If it doesn't affect the number of bites I'm getting, I'm always running a trailer hook. I love throwing a 1/2 ounce bait. That's kind of my size. I always throw the 1/2 ounce bait. There's a few times I've gone finesse and gone down in size. They offer these in 1/4 ounce, 3/8 and 1/2. I like the 1/2 ounce because I can just straight bomb in a mile. Usually I'm trying to throw my buzz bait as far as I can. I'm throwing a buzz bait on a Kistler Helium. I'm either going to throw a 7.4 or 7.6. I want to throw it a long, long way, so I want that longer rod. I'm either going to throw it on a 7.3 or this is an 8.1 to 1 gear ratio. I just want to be able to have a nice fast retrieve if that's what's required of it. I've got this with 14-pound mono on it. I throw it both on mono and braid. It really just kind of depends on the scenario. If the fish are finicky, I like throwing it on mono. If the water's really clear, I throw it on mono. But if I can get away with braid, I like to do that because there's less stretch in braid. Typically these buzzbait hooks are pretty stout, so if you get a good hook set in them, that might come a long way for getting the fish in a boat. So if I can get away with braid, I will, but I'm not afraid to throw the 14-pound mono. And keep it simple, guys. Look for really, really shallow rock flats. That's a really go-to deal in the month of October. Those fish will get up shallow and chase bait. So look for shallow rock flats. Also, if you've got any flooded bushes or timber, a buzzbait's fantastic for that. And that's one of the scenarios where your trailer hook's probably not going to work. But again, that's another good application in the month of October. Don't forget, you can get your Booyah buzzbaits over at lurenet.com. Even the War Eagle buzzbait you can get at lurenet.com. Saves you 15% if you use my code Cordiana15. Hope this helps you guys catch more fish in the month of October. We'll see you guys in the next video when it maybe ain't so windy.
Okay guys, I'm excited about fishing in the month of October right now. There's a lot of ways to catch fish, and I'm going to have to share with you guys 2 ways that you can go out and catch numbers and size, okay? Now this first one I'm going to share is for anybody. I'm saying anybody from pond fishing, fishing the banks at a lake, river, stream, electronics, no electronics, and it's a fun way to catch fish. And guys, it is with a buzzbait, okay? Now think about a buzzbait, all right? Now this is a Black's Custom Lures buzzbait, a small company in Central Arkansas. I'm going to put the link in the description. They're actually, I think they just gone Tackle Warehouse. Got a couple here I'm going to share. But the thing about a buzzbait, guys, that I like about this time of year, it's a fun way to catch fish. You got bait, you got fish keying on bait fish right now. And there's nothing like just seeing this thing going across the water and then this fish is coming up and blowing up on it. This one right here doesn't have a skirt. This is a toter buzzbait that they have. Doesn't have a skirt. There's some with skirts. Now this trailer you see, okay? Let's talk about the trailer. A lot of people throw the horny toads, and I got some right here. That horny toad, as you see, is pretty subtle, and sometimes the fish like that, okay, because you have all this reaction right here from this buzzbait. But guys, lately I've been throwing these 6 cents bongos, okay? You see that right there with the crawl, how it's more thicker. It has more vibration in the water and gives off more action behind, okay? And so that's just something that I've been using lately and had some success with it. I just like how it looks, and it's something different. As you guys know, I like different. Okay, now one other buzzbait Then I'm going to try just about hook myself. Look at this double buzzbait. I've never thrown a double buzzbait like this, guys. So I'm actually going to give this a shot. Okay, this is a 3/8 ounce size. And then, guys, this one's a 1/2 ounce. If you want to go to a smaller size, I like the smaller sizes in situations where I'm seeing smaller bait fish, okay? So here's one. This is the Brain Buster. It's a 3/8 ounce size, but it still has a big hook, okay? A big, strong hook. This right here is more in that shad color, okay? And then one thing about the Brain Buster I like is it does give a little bit different sound, and part of that is because you have that little ball right there, and it's hitting up against it, okay? Now, on trailers too, you know, there's a time I've mentioned throwing a trailer, not throwing a trailer. There's times I think, you know, that the trailer don't even matter. If they're really eating, trailer don't matter. But that trailer does give a little bit of a size and a profile. Now, one little color Matt Steffen talked about in one of his videos, and I've surprised Matt did, by the way, guys. This is Gray Ghost, Horny Toad Gray Ghost color. It's a great color for these buzz baits. You know, he had to share that with you guys, and you probably already knew it, maybe, okay? As much as y'all can watch on TV, all of us watch. But I've been throwing that on buzz baits for years. Now, guys, my other lure that I'm excited about throwing this month. I've never thrown it this month. Part of that is because when I was a high school coach, football coach, when I did go out and fish, I was always throwing buzzbaits, fishing shallow, power fishing. Now, when I did fish offshore, it was crankbaits, and crankbaits is great during this month. But guys, what I'm about to throw is a big spoon. Y'all have heard me talk about the big spoon. Guys, this dude right here just won a high school fishing event for some kids on my fishing team that I coach. On my video that's on this channel about how to fish these spoons, okay, the kid that I had with me that day that watched me make the video and then went out there and fished with me, he caught his fish with it the first time that day. He just used all of that and went out and won a tournament with this. Now, guys, we didn't catch a fish with this in September. Practicing for the event, even in my other lake over here, the fish didn't want it. But guys, these cool nights are coming and the days are shorter and the fish are feeding up. And there are times where they want these big spoons. These big spoons are going to trigger the big bass in them. Now, this is the Dixie Jet Falcon Sexy Shattered Glass. This is the Dixie Jet Talon. The Talon's my favorite. This is in the shattered glass. Now, guys, I know I've been using Live Scope to help me catch fish with it, but if you do not have Live Scope, and that's okay, you don't need it. Look for bait fish, okay? But look for bait fish in drains off of creek channels. You can find that creek channel in them creeks where it bends up against flats. If there's rock on it, that's going to be nice. If there's a brush pile, that's good. And guys, you don't got to go and throw it for 30 minutes at it, okay? It can be just a couple casts. Now, one thing with it too, just depending how you feel, I wouldn't throw it right off the bat, maybe. I know it's kind of hard for me to say. For example, in that high school tournament, those kids idled, used their 2D down imaging, found the fish, okay? They found the bait fish, and there was fish suspended under them, and they threw crankbaits, worms, Carolina rigs, swim baits. Fish didn't eat it. They threw this in there, and it got them triggered and got them going, and man, they caught 17 pounds of bass for 8th graders on the team, and that's a big bag, okay? Caught them with this guy, and once again, it can trigger them. For my setup, I didn't even talk about my rod, and for the buzzbait, 7.2 to 7.4 rods what I like to use. Denali Attacks has a Tennessee River Edition swim bait frog rod I use, but I also have that 7.2 rod if I'm really wanting to skip and get under cover, okay? Now for the spoon, Denali Attacks 710 extra heavy, fast action. Guys, you've heard me talk about this rod. It's got a lot of fish, a lot of big fish. It's an affordable rod. If you're looking for more of a rod, affordable price range, this dude catches fish, okay? Using Sunline FC Sniper fluorocarbon, okay, and that's my reel, man, 6.3 1 gear ratio reel. I mean, you know, this is no quantum energy. This thing's, I mean, I bet this thing's older than what those kids were that were just using this to go catch fish, all right? Some good stuff, okay? Anyway, guys, I appreciate it. Let's go see what Randy has to say about fishing, what his area and bait is in the fall. I'm going to share one way that you guys can help support the anglers from the Bass Fishing Declassified team, and that is by checking out their YouTube pages. Guys, I just started my own YouTube channel called The Fishing Coach, and then after that you have Kyle's channel, Matt's channel, and then Randy, which has 3 channels now. One thing I like about watching the videos on their channel myself is I kind of get to know more about them and get their personality and just get to learn a little bit more than just from our videos on the Declassified channel. So guys, after this video, check out their channels. Please subscribe to help support the anglers on the Bass Fishing Declassified team. Thank you.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Bass Fishing Declassified, which is brought to you today by Bridgeford Food Corporation, the maker of the Sweet Baby Ray beef jerky. Guys, if you're looking for some great boat food, this is it right here. This is the sweetest, tenderest beef jerky you'll ever taste. It's all American made. Their company's big supporters of the sport of bass fishing, big supporters of our country's military, and you guys can get them at any Walmart checkout stand in there. So pick you up a pack. You guys will just absolutely love this stuff. But anyway, guys, we're going to be talking about glide bait, the Megabass 187, which is my favorite glide bait of all time. I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice on how to fish this. Now, thinking about glide bait fishing, we've talked about it a little bit in the past, and it requires a shift in mentality, because when you're talking about fishing big glide baits like the 187 ice slide, you're not going to get a lot of bites on it. You just sort of have to accept that into the reality of the situation, but you're after quality bites. The average bite that you're going to get on this lure here is going to be at least 3 pounds. Most of the fish are going to be over 3 pounds. And if you have a day where you say you get 10 bites on a big glide bait, you've had an outstanding day. So you sort of have to think about it in those terms as far as your expectations. Now, the reason that I like it in the month of October is that there's a transition that goes on in the month of October where some of these larger baits start to work. Now, during the month of like August, September, and into early October, a lot of the smaller lures are really effective, with the exception of like the bigger swim baits and glide baits. And for whatever reason, it's probably a combination of the shorter daylight hours, the dropping temperatures, the cooler nights, more quality fish are moving shallow. It's probably all that together that makes them bite the big glide bait. So the key on this thing, there's really 2 different keys you need to remember. Number 1 is the area that you fish it in, and number 2 is how you work it. When you're thinking in terms of catching fish on the bigger glide baits, you got to have some deep water access. So my favorite areas to fish these things are on steeper banks, like bluffy type banks, on main lake and secondary points, anywhere where I feel the bass can come up vertically on the bait. I don't want to throw it in such shallow water where they have to come horizontally. Seems like they don't bite it very good. But if I can get in the situation where I throw this thing and I only work at about a foot under the surface, where they have to come up on it at a deeper water, that's when you can really get those bigger fish to commit to it. So make sure you're throwing it over deeper water. In order for that to work, you have to have the right water clarity. So you have to have water clarity, in my opinion, of at least 3 feet. I like 4 to 5 foot visibility if possible. And then a day, if you have some, considerable wind, like 15 to 25 mile an hour wind, makes it even better. And on top of that, if you've got cloudy conditions, that even makes it better. So if you got the low light days, cloudy, rainy, windy, clear water situation, you're gonna up your odds of catching giant fish on the big glide baits more than anything else. The next thing with it, guys, is how you work it. These glide baits, they're designed to just swim sideways like that when you reel them in, but you want to work them like a jerk bait. So throw it out there and just jerk it like you would like a jerk bait, and dart sharp side to side just like that. That's my favorite way to work them. And finally, these baits get a lot of followers. You have a lot of fish that look at them and don't hit them. One little tip I'll give you to get those fish to actually react to it and bite it is, if you see a fish following your bait, speed it up. Start jerking it real fast like that, like it's trying to get away from them. And more than not, they're gonna bite it with that. So anyway, guys, pick you up a couple of the Megabass 187 ice slides, wide variety colors. They're all awesome. You guys will love the way this thing looks in the water. So hope it helps you catch a big one. We'll see y'all later.
With air temperatures dropping, the leaves falling, that means we're entering jerkbait season. One of my favorite times to fish, one of the best ways to have outstanding fishing for both numbers and size. It truly is a great time to be out on the water. A lot of times you have the lakes to yourself because everyone else is out in the woods. And if you have the lake to yourself, man, it can be a glorious time to be fishing. One of my favorite go-tos is this guy right here. This is the Berkley Stunna 112+1. This is the hanky-panky color. I really like this bait if you're fishing in a little bit of off-colored water. Maybe you're in the middle of turnover and therefore you need something to have a little bit more color to it. If I'm fishing in really clear water, I like to go with this guy right here. This is the 112+1 in shad fillet. It's a much more translucent color with a little bit of chartreuse on the bottom. One of my absolute go-tos anytime I'm throwing a jerkbait. My setup on this is a little bit different than what a lot of other people like to do. I like to use spinning gear with it. I like to throw really light line. This is 6-pound, 100% Berkley fluorocarbon line. I've got it on a custom built. This is a 6.5-foot medium light spinning rod. And then I pair it up here. This is just a Revo SX spinning reel. This thing is absolute dynamite. You just need a spinning reel that's got really good drag system, because when you're throwing that light line, you might have some fish that hit it like a freight train. So if you don't have your drag set right, or you don't have a reel that's got a smooth drag system, you might be in trouble. But the reason I like this setup is because that light line lets me get the jerkbait down to a deeper depth. A lot of times these fish are starting to transition from shallow water to their wintering haunts in much deeper water. And therefore, if I can get the bait down a couple extra feet, it does make a big difference at times. Now, when I'm out on the water, I'm generally going to be looking for a couple of different types of areas. I'll be concentrating shallow if the water is in that low 60 to mid to low 50 degree range. Generally looking at some of your outside break lines. If you've got some green weeds left on some flats, those can be great areas. But a lot of times your rock is going to start to become a much bigger factor, because the rock holds more heat. And with water temperatures dropping, the fish are going to be more geared towards areas that are holding heat. Now, if the water temperature is dropping into that mid 50 to low 50 into the 40 degree range, I'm going to be concentrating much more on some rock specific areas, whether that's some deep humps, points with some rock on it. Maybe I've got a bluffy bank with some rock as well. The key here is, in those periods of time, the fish are really keen more on that rock, and they're going to be a little bit deeper. So a lot of times to start the year, I might be throwing just the stun of 112, but then as the water temperature drops below that turnover period, I'm going to be looking at throwing the 112 plus 1 just to get a little bit deeper. Guys, if you are not throwing a jerkbait in the fall period, you really are missing out. It's one of the absolute best baits that you can be throwing. So go pick yourself up some of these stunnas, head out to the lake, toss them around, you'll get a few good bites.